The biggest application in nonprofit is fundraising, and that's a common need for every nonprofit out there. Personalized video is a way to reach out to existing and prospective donors with a message that's very tailored to them. It's also a great way to thank them. We talk about stewardship. How do you retain donors year after year? And personalized video is a great way to do that.
You're listening to Stories from the Top, an inside guide to better business development. We're back with Bill and Ann from Allied Pixel. Thank you guys again for coming back on the show.
Of course.
And today we're talking about some more of the dynamics of personalized video in higher ed, nonprofits. To start out, why don't you guys just give us a quick recap on what Allied Pixel is and what you guys do for your clients?
Allied Pixel specializes in creating data-driven personalized video. We are best known for the work that we do in higher education, but we're moving into other verticals.
So with personalized video, that's creating videos that are for prospective students in the nonprofit world with, I'm guessing, donors in in higher ed, and then donors in the nonprofit world.
Primarily, yeah.
So I guess there's I have a lot of questions about the development of that, but what is the scripting process for that type of thing? Do you guys have the template that each video will follow, or how do you guys develop that kind of messaging?
The scripting follows the data. So the first job is to really determine what the organization's story is going to be
and what they need.
Yeah.
What are they looking to achieve? Craft the story, make sure they have the data in order to sustain that story.
Yeah. So once we've sort of identified what the storyline is, then we have producers that actually write scripts. They're a different kind of script than the traditional script because they branch. So there's a typical structure of a data-driven video will be a personalized open, followed by dynamic segment 1, dynamic segment 2, dynamic segment 3, and then a personalized close. That's like a very conventional structure for what we do. But each of those dynamic sections may have 10, 15, 20 individual elements to it, depending upon what the data calls for. So you end up having a script that's got a lot of different sort of contingencies in it that are all brought together automatically by a render engine once the production process begins.
Each one of those segments could have 20 different options?
Yes.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. So it gets complicated. And, mathematically, when you think about it, even if each of those sections just had 10, you would have 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1,000 different sort of permutations of the video, plus a personalized open and a personalized close. So literally there's, it's an infinite number of possible variations of that video.
Will you guys use voiceover in interview, or is it mostly on-screen graphic text?
We do, most of the work that we do is voiceover driven. But we, to be ADA compliant, we always have captions, and we also do these in multiple languages too.
And we do offer, sometimes depending on the video. I mean, there's usually always some sort of on-screen text on there, just to highlight the point in that specific section. Yeah. Or reference a stat or something that isn't necessarily voiced, but on there to add value.
Yeah. That's especially true of the financial aid videos we do. So we do these personalized financial aid videos, which are really kind of amazing because you may have gotten a letter from your school when you were accepted at a college, and it says, here's the financial aid package. And it's hard to understand. I mean, it's sort of a legal document. And it's so critical for a lot of these students. I mean, it's the difference between being able to go to school and not. So the personalized financial aid videos actually break out the specific package that a student has, their financial aid offer, and explains in plain English what that means. What is a grant? What is a loan? What is work study? And it sort of explains it in terms of their specific offer. So that's an example where there's a lot of on-screen text because it's breaking out the numbers, and like, what do I have to repay? And what does that repayment schedule look like?
What is my scholarship for this? do I need to repay it? Do I not need to repay it? Do I need to be in school full time in order to receive that? Also, with video, you're retaining 95% of the information in comparison just to 10% in text. So, having a personalized financial aid video augment your letter, absolutely necessary. We had one school, they actually did a commercial out to their students saying, we've crafted personalized financial videos. They'll be ready on this day. Check your email. That was fantastic. We didn't prompt them to do that. They did that on their own. And we thought, this is genius. So they're actively looking for that rather than, sometimes you get an email, you ignore it. No, they were made aware. The feedback that we got from that school, I realize I can go to college now. It made such a difference, the video. I now understand what the offer is, what the award is. Huge difference.
That's a really cool use of this personalization idea. What are some of the other data points that you guys find are good to personalize?
There's so many. I think every school's got a different story to tell, and we try to pull the data that tells that story most effectively. It could be, in some cases, campus activities. A lot of students are interested in, is this a fun school to go to?
Right.
What can you do?
College is more than just education. You want to know, what am I going to do here? These are my interests. Maybe I'm more of an outdoor enthusiast. Is there somewhere near campus, or is there something on campus? Is there a club? What am I going to do when I'm not in class? So it's going to give you the full picture of what your life while you're at school is going to be like. We feel like that's really made a turn also for like neighborhood schools. So yes, I live in Pennsylvania and I'm very familiar with, say, Westchester University. But did I know that they had a study abroad program? Did I know that they have different companies that I could go and work for or get an internship? I didn't know that. So it's expanding that story. Yes, you're familiar because you live here, but did you know? And that might make more of a connection for them to keep their local school in the mix.
And conversely, students that are coming from out of town, they are not familiar with that town, with that city, or maybe even that region. So we're going to talk about that for those students and say, hey, listen, you're going to love this town, and here's why. And we show them, all the nightlife and the dining and the fun things you can do off of campus.
Do you have any options where the viewer gets to participate in the customization of the video, like checking boxes?
Absolutely.
We do. And that's something new for us. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, it's called real-time personalized web video, and this expands not only in higher education, but nonprofit or business. So imagine if you have a website and someone comes to your website, they're interested. What we are offering is a pop-up window that says, hey, would you like to know more? Are you we'll use higher education as an example. Are you a freshman or are you a transfer student? They would choose from one of those two options. They'd hit next, they go on to the next. What academic interest are you interested? They have a drop-down list. They choose education. The next thing is, what else would you like to know about us? Or what are your concerns? Maybe I have concerns about financial aid. How am I going to pay for school? Maybe I'm concerned about, is college worth it? Am I going to have a high paying job? How many, like statistics about the school. What am I going to do at your school? Are there clubs and activities? Are there fraternities and sororities? Are there people like me there? I make that next choice. The next window comes up. I can either optionally or be required to share my name and email. It depends on the school and on those choices. I hit next. A personalized video pops up with all those things that I selected. So it's very user driven. And there's my personalized video. In addition to that, there's call to action buttons with whatever the school or the company wants me to do next. I can choose to click on those, take the next step. But now I have this video. I can also be like, oh my God, this was amazing. I want to share this with my friend. I hit the share button. I type in my friend's cell phone number. They get the text. Then they get to experience that website personalized video journey on their terms. So it's very cool, very much user driven, where what we've done in the past has always been school driven, like, oh, we have this data on you. But keep in mind, I mean, as somebody is moving along, getting closer to school, they might change their mind, you know? Yeah, I used to think I wanted to be a nurse. Now I don't. I want to be a psychology major or something else. So they could go back 2 weeks or 3 months from now and change their mind and get a completely different video.
My son is a rising senior in high school, and he's probably gone through 6 different majors. And he's interested in all this. How do you know as a student? This allows them to kind of create their own adventure, and try out different variations and feel what feels right, what things seem interesting to them.
And for the school, they're getting all this information on the back end. They're getting to know how many students are interested in this major, how many people have concerns about financial aid, how many concerns have about activities on school or living on campus or commuting. So now they have all this information, and depending on what other information they've made required, when they follow up with these students, they can talk specifically. So the follow-up is much more engaging, much more personalized to hopefully make them into a student or a buyer for that product.
And repetition is such a big part of retention. How many different personalized videos will people see in their application all the way up to acceptance? Is it something where it's just one touch, or is it depending on the school?
Depends on the school. We are big advocates of drip campaigns, and in the academic world, there is an enrollment funnel, which starts at the search phase, where schools are actually reaching out to a lot of students, just creating awareness of the school, down to the application, admit, deposit, and even what's called melt reduction, which is once a student has been accepted, you want to sort of like get them to commit to coming. So there's a whole funnel, and we provide options for schools at every step of that funnel to reach out to that student in a very personalized way to sort of move them to the next stage in that funnel.
So for higher education, what we've been calling is our trifecta is this real-time personalized web video placed on the website. So that's getting any user, parent, it's getting them engaged, it's getting the school information. The next personalized video we would suggest would be a financial aid video, because now they know how much it's going to cost. And then the final one, what we'd like to say is the deal sealer, is the personalized admit video. So there's 3 videos the school can offer, and we can engage, connect, and hopefully convert those students with them.
And we touched a little bit on it there with distribution. Is this something that's sent through email? I know the one video, the multiple choice type of setup, is on the website. How do you guys do distribution?
All of the above. So the videos can be sent by email, by text message. A lot of schools will have a student portal where the video lives. And then most recently, we have the real-time web video, which lives on the school's website. And we're currently working with a school right now that's sending them out in a digital brochure that's physically mailed to the student. They open it up, and it plays their personalized video right in front of them.
It's really cool.
I'm curious about, since this is such like a unique service or product that you guys offer, do you guys have competitors in your space, or are you kind of standing alone here?
We like to think not.
Yeah, I definitely think we're standing alone. There are other people who do their version of personalized video, but it's not our version.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's people out there that do like peer-to-peer, like you create your own video.
Yeah.
They're using the donor world, where you're thanking a donor for making a contribution. And there are some like AI solutions, but none of them do really quite what we do.
And that's part of what Bill was saying. When we do talk to people, it's the education on what we do, because sometimes they think personalized video, they think it's themselves on camera, and how on earth could that be scalable? No, it's the organization creating a personalized video for your end user, and that's what we're helping you to do.
So yeah, what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of being in a market where you guys are like the only player here? I know education is a big one that an obstacle you guys have to overcome, right?
Yeah.
They have higher education has so many options, so many things they want to do. The budgets are getting smaller and smaller. They need to decide, okay, where can we spend our money? And we talk to a lot of people and they say, okay, depending on what time of year that we talk to them, we love this, we want to do it. However, we're going to put that in queue for next year. Or it might be 6 months from now, but we're going to do it. And then we talk about, this isn't necessarily something that you need to pull only from the enrollment budget. You can pull some money from marketing. So let's talk about this in the bigger picture on, you have a goal that you want to achieve. Let us help you, and let's be creative about funding that, because it's going to help so many things. I do want to touch base really quick, going back to community colleges, because you talked about multiple videos. Something that is unique and interesting to them, which is kind of a 2-video package where we help them, and depending on the school, they all have different things, but with this one community college that we were working with, they have so many applicants. Once a student gets accepted, that's not the end all. There's, still maybe 5 to 7 more steps in order to get them enrolled. So what they've done is we send the personalized video saying, hey, you've been accepted. Let's move on to step 2. And that's the trigger to keep them moving along in that funnel. That's the whole purpose of our call to action buttons, is to keep them going till the end. And then the second video is for a student who may have attended one semester, took a semester off, and you want that student back. So we're sending them a personalized video saying, hey, you've achieved 28 credits. These are all the reasons you should stay. You're going to make more money. You can have this job. You can do this. Please come back. How can we help you? What are your needs? Those are the types of call to action buttons. So we really create whatever the school needs, whatever the business needs, whatever the nonprofit needs. We tell that story in a very personalized way in order to help them get more customers.
Yeah, I wanted to know a little bit more about the nonprofit side of things. What is all the different applications? I know in schools it's not like that funnel. I'm sure there's 20 different things. What about in the nonprofit world?
The biggest application in nonprofit is fundraising. And that's a common need for every nonprofit out there. Personalized video is a way to reach out to existing and prospective donors with a message that's very tailored to them. It's also a great way to thank them. We talk about stewardship. How do you retain donors year after year? And personalized video is a great way to do that. We can talk about a campaign that we're doing for Easter seals that I think has been really effective for them.
Right. So Bill had a great idea and thought, this shouldn't be a one-shot video. We should do a quarterly video. So the first need that they had was they have a camp that needed to be reconstruction, not only in the pool, but also for the special needs people who needed to attend. They had to build a new sensory-friendly cabin. To build a new pool, demo the old pool, lots of money involved. They needed to raise a lot of money. And they have lots of people who are very familiar with the organization and at different levels. So you have the people who actually have someone who are receiving the services. You have people who donate out of the kindness of their heart or know of somebody that this organization has benefited in the past. So what we did was we created a personalized video and said, hey, thank you for being a camp counselor. This is what we're doing, and this is why we're raising money. So in that video, they might see themselves as the camp counselor interacting with the people who are going to be swimming in that pool. They know that that pool might have been in need of some help. So they've already connected like, yeah, wow, I know from my own personal experience that they need a new pool. They're more than likely going to click on that donate button. Or maybe I'm a board member, or maybe I'm someone, a Rotarian who goes down and helps out during the off season and be like, yeah, I saw that pool. Yeah.
Or maybe I'm a camp counselor.
Yeah, exactly. And so that video is going to look slightly different. Or maybe I've given in the past and I'm going to say thank you for giving in the past. This is what our current need is. And you know what the people who get in that pool and attend camp, you know how happy it's going to make them feel. And autism and special needs are just the world that we live in. So I think people have a soft place in their heart. And then to say, hey, you know what? We're going to give these people what they need, a sensory-friendly cabin, which didn't necessarily exist a couple years ago. So they can go away. Then that gives the families respite. It's a whole story that's going to make it very personalized, and giving is very personalized. So if I feel something that resonates in my heart, I'm more likely to give.
And we have, data points on the donors too. So we know, for example, they've been a donor since 2003, and we may know that they've earmarked their donations for certain programs that are near and dear to their heart. So that information is all part of the message that they see in that video. And we know it's been effective. I mean, they not only reached, but they exceeded their fundraising goal for the new camp. Easter Seals tells us that within minutes of the videos
within
being
15
sent,
minutes from that drop, they
got their first donation.
Yeah.
So these things work.
Yeah.
So what does the analytics side look like for these videos? I know you guys track data. I'm guessing it's kind of watch time, how far through the video they've hit.
We do. So all of that information is tracked. So there's a real-time dashboard that the organization has access to, and it'll show them on a per person basis, but also on a campaign basis, how the video is performing. And we track a lot of different metrics. We look at who has opened their email, who has watched the video, who's watched it to completion, who's watched it multiple times, who has shared it, who has clicked on those action buttons that are on the player page, such as donate now, learn more, etc. And all of those activities contribute to an individual's what we call engagement score. And you can see them listed from most engaged to least engaged. And both of those provide opportunities, because the people who are the most engaged are your most engaged prospects. And these are the people who it might make sense to reach out on a personal level, a phone call, a meeting in person, etc. And then we look at the ones who are the least engaged, and we say, well, okay, so these are the folks that we're not really engaged with. Why would that be? And maybe we need to change our messaging for those.
Right. Or maybe we need to contact them personally. We had that one school who said that's who they focused on. Because the people who are engaged, they're probably more than likely. But these people who clicked but took no action, let me contact them. I know a little bit about their story. Let me see if I can move them up that engagement ladder. And it made a real difference. They were able to increase their enrollment numbers by doing that, taking the opposite effect.
Will you guys beta test the video before you ship it out to everybody, like send it out to 50 or 100 people? And
We do, yeah. There's a pretty rigorous testing process that goes on. So what we do is we take sample data from the organization, and we use it to generate usually around 30 sample videos that sort of express all the different data variations in that data set. And then we review them internally. We've got a team that just actually watches these videos and makes sure that they're technically correct and that the audio levels are, all correct and all that stuff. And once we're satisfied that everything looks great, then we share them with the client, and they can watch them and kind of, kick the tires and make sure that the videos are look and feel the way they want them to. Sometimes they'll ask for some changes, which we're happy to do. We don't let anything out into the world until the client is 100% happy with it.
Yeah, because I feel like you could get into a world where you're super over engineering it, where, okay, we have 10 versions of the drama department snippet. This one focuses on theater stuff. This one's more on out and about in the community types things they do. And it's like, it could get too crazy.
It could. I mean, in practical terms, there are budget constraints and there's time constraints, right? So we try to put some guardrails on sort of what the scope of that project is going to be in terms of the number of variable sequences and segments that we're going to produce for them, and also just in terms of the amount of shooting that we would do, if any, and so forth. So all of those things are part of sort of the contract going into it. In theory, these could be infinitely variable, for sure. In reality, we've found that there's sort of a formula that works best in terms of, effectiveness versus budget.
Exactly. And what we're doing with real-time web video, you don't want them to have to scroll through pages of things. You want the school to know what they're trying to achieve, what their consumer is going to be interested in. But another point that you had brought up is we're gathering this information and video clips from the school. So a lot of that stuff is already done. If we need to shoot, we absolutely will, but we will use their video assets to incorporate.
So I just want to go back to the organization that you guys have currently. You said like 30 some employees.
36.
What's the breakdown of the job positions that you have that make up that group of people?
Broadly speaking, we've got a production team, which has got all the sort of the video specialties that you would think of. So we've got producer, director, writer, editor, and we bring in other specialties as we need them. And then we've got a data team. And these are the folks that crunch the numbers. So we get these huge data sets from schools, and we have to make sure that their CRM and our render engine get along nicely, and that they understand each other, because it's a two-way communication flow. So that is a significant piece of our business is just the sort of the data management end of it. And then the third is administrative. Just like any other business, we got to send out invoices and pay the bills, and HR and all that stuff. So those are sort of the three main areas.
Do you guys feed data back into their CRM?
We do.
So then, there's got to be a lot of trust there to let you guys have write permissions inside that database.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's something we take very seriously, and we have a lot of data security protocols in place. So we make sure that that data is secure from beginning to end and return.
Right. And even for the personalized video where there's actual numbers within those videos that pertain to the student, they need to have specific information in order to get into that video, just to protect their information and confidentiality.
So you guys have been growing this business all the way since the 90s. What advice would you give to somebody who is growing a business and they're innovating, making new technology or products or services?
Be nimble. Be nimble. The world changes, and over time, what you do may need to adjust to the realities of the world that we live in. So I think don't get too in love with your product as it is today, because it may be a lot different a few months from now. And I think, just from a personal perspective, is let your brain lead you more than your heart. You absolutely have to be passionate about what you do. That's a given. But don't be so in love with what you're doing that you're not considering and exploring other options. Because in this world, we need to pivot, right? And things change rapidly. Technology changes, marketing changes, you name it. And I think you need to always be thinking, how can I adjust what we're doing today to be better tomorrow?
That's great. Yeah. Anything else you guys wanted to cover while we're on the topic of personalized higher ed, nonprofits business?
How they can get a hold of us.
Sure.
AlliedPixel.com, LinkedIn, Bill Haley and Paoli. AlliedPixel.com will really help you out if you want to schedule a meeting, see what we do, see sample videos. Thank you for having us. It was lovely.
Oh, it was great. Thank you guys for coming on.
You bet. Thank you.
Stories from the Top is your guide to successful business development. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, or find Edge of Cinema on YouTube. Stories from the Top is an Edge of Cinema production, hosted by Matthew Skura and Jeremy Schmidt. To learn more or get in touch, visit edgeofcinema.com/podcast.